Welcome to my journaling workshop. Today I'm going to talk specifically about journaling techniques. If you have looked about journaling, and you will find out that there are so many journaling techniques out there and you just don't know which one is right for you. If you have looked on the internet, they could tell you that it's 5 techniques, 7, 10, 20, 30 techniques, like how to choose. And if you look to the extremes, like I did, from A to Z journaling techniques possible, this is like a list of all available journaling techniques out there. But if I need to pick one, only one journaling technique, it could be reflective journaling technique. And there are some other techniques that you might have seen from the research. Some bloggers or YouTubers, they could usually mention about them. Bullet, expressive, gratitude, morning pages, one sentence, and prompted journal. Beside those could be goal, idea, or junk, or year in review journal techniques. Today I'm going to discuss 7 techniques that are most popular and frequently mentioned on the internet. Let's dive right into that. The very first one is expressive journaling. It was first proposed by the researcher James Baker. In his original study, he asked the students to write about a traumatic event for 15 minutes per day for 4 consecutive days. And what he found is that the students who wrote about the events, they have a higher blood pressure and negative moods, but they have a fewer health visits to the center later. And they have repeated the same kind of study in other type of patients, for example, with breast cancers or IBS patients. And they also found that the expressive journaling have improved the quality of life and boost pain self-efficacy. Whereas the one kind of downside of expressive journaling, because if you think about that, you write about a very traumatic, stressful event that has happened to you. And when you write about it, it's like you relive the situation. And in one particular study, they found that expressive writing in perinatal women with PTSD, it didn't really help them, but actually increased the anxiety and sadness in them because they don't have anyone to help them or guide them through the process. And it could be very distressed and stressful for some people who cannot really manage their anxiety well. And because of that, I think reflective journaling may be a better serve, because you can write about something good or bad had happened to you, and then you self-reflect on it and learn from the past experience. And they have shown that the reflective journaling help to promote self-awareness, mental well-being, critical thinking, or reflective practice. This is how it looks like. This is you, and there's some event has happened to you. In the first part of reflective journaling, you just merely describe the event, what had happened, who's involved. For example, I got a client talked back to me in a very bad way. I spilled my milk on the counter. I fell on the bike. I got a promotion. So there's something happened to you, good or bad. And then you reflect on the event. What is important, useful, aspect, relevant of this event? How it can be explained? How it's different or similar to the other events? And after the reflection, it gives you the perspective. You summarize the event. What have I learned? How I can apply this to the future? So in the way that reflective journaling is a part of has a one part as expressive writing. In the first part, you describe the events, but then you are as your own therapist. You guide yourself through the event, you reflect on it, you summarize it, and try to understand what has happened, why it happened, and what you can learn from it. The next technique in journaling is gratitude journaling. As the name suggests, you write about your thoughts, feeling of appreciation, and it helps to boost well-being, reduce stress, anxiety, negative effects, ease suffering, distress, and improve quality of life. You can do this writing in a daily basics. But morning pages were proposed by Julia Cameron. It basically means you write a 3 pages long hand streams of consciousness. You do the very first thing in the morning when you wake up, and you try to get out all of the bubbles of your conscious onto the paper. You can clear out those bubbles out of your head, and hopefully you will get a clear mind. I know 3 pages sound hard because sometimes you don't know what to write. So that's actually what you're going to write onto the paper. I don't know what to write. I feel stuck in my head and there's nothing coming out of it. So when you process it in the writing form, eventually things will come out of that and you will get a clearer and clearer thoughts in the process. That's why you have to do this basically every morning. The idea of one sentence journal proposed by James Clear, because imagine you need to spend maybe half an hour to an hour to write 3 pages for the morning pages, or 15-20 minutes to write the expressive or reflective, or probably the same with gratitude journaling. And it could be time consuming for some people. And to push that barrier, you can just capture your day, a message in just 1 sentence and record whatever you want to keep track on. In that sense, you cannot really make an excuse that, oh, it takes so much time, because you basically just need to summarize everything in just 1 sentence. The bullet journaling proposed by writer Karen is basically a productivity system. It focuses on what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing. It's more like a to-do list, a journal, a diary, because you capture your whole daily plan or your whole life plan in that journal. What you do, what you plan to do, have you achieved it, gonna push it forward, it got cancelled. You can also track your mood, your exercise activity, water intake, vitamins, I don't know, period, anything you want to keep track on to either help you to achieve your personal goals or your professional goals. The bullet journaling has kind of one downside, because if you look at on the internet, you will see some very beautiful design of bullet journaling, and it might feel a bit intimidating for some people who are not very artistic. And for some people, they kind of spend more time on designs rather than actually in journaling. So if you plan to do bullet journal, aim for a little bit more minimalized version of bullet journal. The very last technique I'm going to discuss is prompted journal. This is the one way you can avoid staring into a blank page and, oh, I don't know what to write. I have no distressful events coming up, or not coming up, happened to me. Or, I don't know, I have no gratitude to write about today, or I don't know what I'm going to write. I don't want to write those stupid sentences in the notebook. So the prompted journal is give you an idea, a suggestion, a prompt, so that help inspire you to write about that in your journal. You can either buy a notebook that already have the prompts inside, or you can just have a blank page and looking for it on the internet for the prompts, or ask ChatGPT to give you some prompts or ideas what you can write in your personal journal to either reflect on certain aspect of your life that you want to investigate, or maybe some ideas that you can try out to have some fun with writing. So in all of those techniques, not just the 7 techniques that I have mentioned, but they are from A to Z journaling techniques, what is right for you? You have to go back to the journaling fundamentals. What is your why? Why you journal? And from that, you will find out what is the right technique for you. For example, if you want to have more of self-reflection, self-awareness, reflective journalings, morning pages could be good to have that purpose. If you want to reduce stress, you can try gratitude journaling. I think reflective journaling also helps to reduce stress. If you want to achieve goals, bullet journaling, very good, or goal journaling. If you want to boost your creativity, obviously creativity or art journaling. So, in conclusion, there are so many journaling techniques out there, and pick one that works for you. It's based on your why. And if you have no intention of what you want to do with journaling, you might find out shortly. So stick to your why and then find out what journaling technique works for you. I hope it helps, and then see you next time. Bye bye.